have more than one mic. We had some technical difficulties with the other mic, so that's why bear with us. Okay, this is the third question. It's going to go to Craig. This is 3 parts. Again, 1. We all know someone who is out of work or who's working twice as hard or to hold down the job that he or she has, while low youth employment is a serious concern. What will you do to preserve jobs in Dorchester, bringing new employment opportunities for our residents, especially our youth?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm a small business owner who employs city residents, people that live in this community. That's a step in the right direction. Second of all, I'm the luckiest guy in this room because every day I get to sell Dorchester to businesses, to potential home buyers, to people that want to come here. I have that opportunity to say how great Dorchester is. About a year back, we had a piece of property for sale that was a unique piece of property. It was in a business zone, but it could have been residential. I worked tirelessly with Dorchester Historical Society, the local neighborhood associations, and the City of Boston to make sure that we got something that worked. So right behind the Dunkin' Donuts in Lowell Mills, the old catering building, we provided a bank or a credit union that employs people in the city and people get to use its services. That's a success story.
Second part. Do you support the city's current policy regarding residency? Do you believe that it should be a condition of employment or should be bargained with the unions?
Eileen, great question. So, first of all, on the front of that question, the answer is yes. But we really need to think about how that impacts people. The housing costs, high cost of car insurance, home insurance, and the cost of living here in the city. So, it's a tough balancing act to say, yes, everybody should live here in the city. And I believe that on its merits. But I think that if you look at the pay and the pay structure, what the city has done with the unions and through collective bargaining is an acceptable practice to me.
Okay, third part. The Boston plan, this relates to the Boston plan rather. How would you assure that we meet or exceed the Boston plan numbers with respect to large or small development projects in Dorchester, especially on all the UMass building projects that are planned?
First of all, just like any other policy that we have, it's about implementation and follow-up. So if there's a policy on the books that's not being followed up, shame on us. I think it's extremely important to put Dorchester residents and City of Boston residents to work in our community. And I will work hard. I will roll my sleeves up and I will dig in to make sure that that happens on every project in this city and in this neighborhood. Thank you.
First one, you may recall, we all know someone out of work, working hard, twice as hard, hold down the job he or she has. While low youth employment is a great concern, what will you do to preserve jobs in Dorchester, bring in youth employment opportunities for residents, especially our youth?
I think that with jobs, first of all, we need to raise the living wage. I make $20,000 a year. Yet, according to some, I'm a member of the middle class. It's ridiculous. So we need to somehow find a way to raise the living wage of everyone. Second, I've been talking about this forever. The way that we can create jobs is, I think a lot of it comes down to the way that the city is spending their money. We need to get rid of busing. We need to allow parents to have that choice on whether to send their kids to the school down the street. That $80 million a year that we would save in transportation costs could be used to build new schools, right? It could be used to improve schools like the Warren and Townsend School or the Jeremiah Burke School. All right, that's a way that we can put people back to work. On the second question, right? My views on residency, I think that Boston jobs should be for Boston residents. If you live in the city, then you should get these jobs. Second, negotiation with unions. I think that we must make sure that we support the collective bargaining process and we allow labor and unions to have their fair share at the table. The third part of the question, all right, this has to do with especially with the possibility of the construction of jobs and with the construction at UMass Boston. I think that the biggest thing is that number one, the goal is to have 50% of all these jobs held by Boston residents. We need to make sure that that happens. We need to make that quota. All right, we got to make sure also that 25% of these jobs are going to minorities. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. Right? Minorities are getting discriminated against here in Boston. They're getting screwed out of jobs, and it's wrong. Right? We need to make sure that women are being treated equally, right? And that they are getting their fair opportunity to have these jobs. And as your city councilor, I, Doug Bennett, will see that this happens. Thank you.
First off, I was one of those people that my job was taken from me. Was every bit of the money was sent down the South Shore. So all the printing companies in the South Shore took the City of Boston's money and they're doing the printing now. So one thing that I would do is to make sure that the privatization that is going to continue to happen in the city. We're going to watch the custodians next. I think we have to be careful that the privatization that's going to start happening in the City of Boston within the city jobs won't happen, or I won't say won't happen, but I'll be an advocate for those people when those privatizations start to happen. And also, we have the telephone workers walking a picket line now, 2222. Those jobs very well could go out of state. So we have to support our people that are on the picket line. We have to know and understand what these companies are doing to the middle class, and we have to advocate for them. And as a city councilor, hopefully I will be able to advocate for them. Second part is residency. I started working in the city in 1986, I think. When I got to the print department in 87, I was one of the only unions in the city that didn't have a residency clause. I would never on a bet move out of the city because I love the city. Against my wife's wishes, she tried to get me other places, but it wasn't going to happen. So I believe in the residency. I think we would be crazy here to advocate for people to move out of the city when we're trying to represent these people. Yes, I want to represent you, but I want you to move out of the city. It's contradictory. And I think the way the city's handling with the bargaining now, it's kind of a two-way, a double-edged sword, because most of the time people want to move out of the city because of the schools. You talk to these young families, they want to move because of the school. You don't want to say to someone, well, you have to send your kid to that school that is a subpar school just to keep your job. If it's bargaining and people are okay with it, then I'd have to be okay with it.
And the last one was on the Boston plan. How would you assure that we meet or exceed the Boston plan numbers with respect to laws?
And speaking specifically to that with the UMass plan, UMass is getting ready to build, I think it's upwards of $700 million in construction over there. And that's why they have PLAs, project labor agreements, in place there. Sometimes you'll read the newspaper, PLAs are a dirty word or a dirty secret, but for us, they're to make sure that we have the jobs, and it's up to us to make sure that they are enforced, the project labor agreements. But the flip side of that is, we need to make sure that our people, our children, our fathers, our mothers, we can do the jobs. We need to train people. I'd like to see the Boston Public Schools have some sort of bring training programs back, because I think that's the way the middle class is going to get back to it. We need electricians. We need
In regards to the first question, unemployment obviously is a huge issue throughout the nation.